I have an extreme solution: tax the living hell out of women with scrapping voting rights, abortions, and birth control for women. Change my mind. So there's this notion, ladies, of repealing the 19th. So in the United States, the 19th Amendment let women vote. What do you think of scrapping women's voting rights as a possible solution to all this? We can deal with abortions and birth control.
No.
What do you think about that?
Yeah, I feel like it's a little bit extreme.
You wouldn't surrender
There's just
your right to vote?
there's just as many women who are conservative and want the same thing men want too. So
I mean,
would you?
statistically, the vast majority of women vote left. There are conservative women for sure, but the vast majority of women tend to vote for socialist policies, more free shit, more social programs, more medical care, more daycare, more.
In that case, yeah, get rid of the women's vote.
Well, that's one of the arguments that a lot of guys make is, you know, a lot of the voting patterns changed when they offered voting rights to women. And socialism, like, you know, you had to be a property owner, you had to be a male or somebody of some influence or significance, you know, depending on where you lived. But, you know, the notion of giving everybody the right to vote is without question a contributing factor to some of the issues. Like, part of the reason why Canada elected another liberal government is because the vast majority of women and soft males voted for that. Stronger men and conservative women didn't vote for that. There's few conservative women. There's few conservative men. There's more soft beta males and lots of women that like the idea of liberalism, right? Because they get free healthcare, Trump bad, you know, that whole narrative that they sold Canadians in the media. Oh, Denise, you wouldn't believe it. They were all about, like, you know, vilifying the conservative candidate because he was purportedly associated with Trump or like Trump or whatever. So that was a platform that they used, and that's why you heard this whole elbows up shit here in Canada. All of these old dorks were doing the elbows up, like they were in line at like rallies, going like this, like they were tough guys, elbows up. These people couldn't punch their way out of a wet paper bag, but they're all elbows up. You know, we're going to give it to Trump by voting for the Liberals. And, you know, when you saw the images of all these rallies and the people in the lineup, it was mostly women and a bunch of beta males, you know, like essentially. So, you know, the argument of fixing a lot of society's problems by women giving up their voting rights, I think conservative women are probably, like, you'd want them to vote because they vote conservative, but you'd have to have all women give up their voting rights. I don't think that's ever going to happen, to be honest with you. What about the notion of, like, things like abortion and birth control?
I think birth control is really bad because it turns women into men. So
it's really disrupted so many things.
Yeah. And
I think it's contributed to the lack of testosterone. It's just bad.
How does it contribute to the lack of testosterone?
There's a lot of studies on just what it's doing to women and the children we have. And I don't know.
Well, one of the problems with hormonal birth control is when women urinate, then part of that gets flushed down in the water system and sewage.
Okay, I have heard that.
They can't treat the hormone out of the water when they return it back to the water system. So there's estrogen in the drinking water throughout North America. The water treatment plants and the facilities know about it. The local governments know about it because they test the water, but they don't do anything about it. So they're okay with having soft men because I think that they're more controllable and more agreeable.
Control them.
So I don't think that they're going to change that, right? So a lot of these things that Kiz is, you know, bringing up here, which are contributors to the problem, I don't see the state or the vast majority of the public agreeing to making the changes, like scrapping women's voting rights, scrapping birth control, scrapping abortions and stuff like that, right?
Have you girls ever experienced noticing that your attraction triggers change on or off birth control? Like what you find attractive in men being different?
So I went on birth control I think I was in grade 6 because I had acne. So the doctor put me on birth control. I think
they put you on birth control in grade 6 because of acne?
And they couldn't get it under control.
Wow.
So I've been on birth control up until I was like around 30, I guess. So I don't know if I've just gotten older and more mature, or like maybe it was the birth control that I was just picking wrong men. I don't know.
Can I ask you a question? Whose idea was it to do that to you in grade 6?
My parents.
Your parents?
Well,
under the advice or guidance of the doctor, probably?
Like the doctor and my parents. Yeah. And like I'm a kid. I don't know. Like,
holy smokes.
I had acne. Who would, like, young girl wants acne?
Right. So but I mean, like, what ends up happening is it tricks your body into being in a perpetual state of pregnancy, which changes your mate selection, because when you're at that phase of your menstrual cycle, you have a preference for softer, more agreeable, kinder, resource provisioning type of male, not strong, masculine, high testosterone Q type of men that women are typically attracted to, right? So one of the problems with hormonal birth control is it facilitates a lot more beta males, right? Because women want softer, safer sort of options. So they tend to gravitate to more of these like nerdy, softer sort of guys, right? And that's one of the problems with divorce, I think, is that a lot of these women will be on birth control, then they get married and they want to have kids. So they come off birth control and they pop out 1 or 2 kids and they just return to their natural cycle. And they look at the guy one morning and they're like, this guy's a loser. Why did I marry him? He's not the kind of guy that I'm attracted to. No, it's true.
I believe it.
Studied and proven, right? So, that point the kids were making.
Like messing around with anybody's hormones is really, really messed up. I think that's really evil. Like that's messed up, man.
I mean, putting a kid on grade 6 on birth control is heinous as fucking hell, as far as I'm concerned. I would have been pissed.
Yeah,
that's absurd.
Yeah, like I didn't know. Like I just found out recently. Like,
you're a kid. You just follow what your parents say, of course.
Yeah. So like, I mean, I am mad. Like, I am mad about it.
Okay, Chris, what is Chris talking about here? If all the dudes you're speaking to are bums, then you have to be real and ask yourself, is my a homeless shelter? I
didn't say I slept with them.
Right. Okay. So there you go, guys. Gin and tonics. What does he got? Chuck Norris went to a feminist rally and came back with his shirt ironed and a sandwich. That's just an old joke you see out there. All right. Do the ladies have any questions for us? Is there anything we can do to be useful for you in love, relationships, dating, whatever, while you have us on?
Just where can I meet men? Not online.
You're gonna have to make eye contact with men that are looking at you to invite them to sort of come over. Like, you're not going to go come over here like this. I mean, you could try, but just do what Denise does, get some decent photography, download a dating app and, go to town, and just, you're going to find, like she's saying, 80% of the guys you're probably not going to be interested in, but you might get lucky. And, at the end of the day, if you're not getting on the ice, you're not going to score a goal, right? Like, if you're not making yourself available, I mean, the problem is that women routinely complain that there's no good men around. And what I find is they put themselves in environments and circumstances and rooms where there's no good men. All right, guys, I really hope that you enjoyed that clip. If you want to check out the full-length podcast episode, you can find that right over here. Also, make sure you visit my website over here where you'll find my supplements, the opportunity to book me privately one-on-one for coaching, and most importantly, my new School of Unplugging, which you'll find on the courses tab. Newer to the channel, hit subscribe.